So the Black Mirror Season 7 is out, and while I haven't had the chance to watch all the episodes yet, I knew I had to talk about the one that hit me the hardest: Common People. Now, when I say I enjoyed it, I don't mean it was fun to watch. Believe me, there was nothing fun about this episode, but I really appreciated how it portrayed a future that feels uncomfortably close. A world where even the most essential medical care is only available to the rich, while the rest, the so-called common people, as the episode bluntly puts it, are left to struggle. And sometimes forced to make heartbreaking decisions just to survive. Honestly, this feels way too familiar, especially if you live in the US. Healthcare costs have skyrocketed to the point where medical bankruptcy is a common story. And after cases like Luigi Mangione's, where delayed care led to tragedy, this episode just hit different. The story follows a couple, Amanda and Mike, who are at first genuinely happy and content with their lives. But then one event flips their entire world upside down. I'll walk through the plot, but also talk a bit about the neuroscience behind the tech they use in the episode, because that's kind of my thing. So let's get into it. At the beginning of the episode, Amanda is a school teacher, and Mike is a construction worker. They seem really in love, especially during their tradition of celebrating their anniversary at the Juniper, where they originally got married. But of course, this is Black Mirror, so you know that peace isn't going to last. While staying at the Juniper, Amanda complains of a bad headache. And look, we've all seen enough TV to know where this is going. Headache equals brain tumor. And sure enough, she collapses in her classroom a few days later and ends up in a coma. Mike rushes to the hospital, only to be told the tumor is inoperable. The doctor says she might not wake up again. It's devastating. One day she's fine, and the next, she's on life support. That's the moment everything changes. The episode spans 3 years. We know this because we see 3 anniversary visits, and that first one marks the beginning of their downfall. Now, if we're being nitpicky, a tumor large enough to be inoperable would probably have shown more signs than just headaches. With something in the parietal lobe, you'd expect issues with writing, speech, or even sensory problems. But let's say, for the sake of the story, Amanda was one of those rare cases with no obvious symptoms until it was too late. While she's in the coma, a sales rep named Gaynor is brought in by the doctor to pitch a new medical tech called Rivermind. It's supposed to map the functions of the damaged brain region to a server and fill in the gaps using a digital backup. As someone who studies neuroscience, this idea made me pause. In theory, yes, maybe you could map brain functions and simulate them through a model. But the brain isn't just a collection of interchangeable parts. It has emergent properties, meaning the whole is more than the sum of its parts. You can't just swap out a damaged piece like it's a mechanical part. You can replace your heart or liver. You can't replace your consciousness. But fine, let's treat this tech as a narrative device, because the episode is really about something deeper. It's about how these services, especially in a privatized world, never really tell you the full story. Sure, there's fine print buried in the contract, but they know you're not going to read it, especially when you're grieving or when the stakes are life or death. Gaynor tells Mike that she herself used the tech and that she's fine now. That's enough to convince him, but what she doesn't mention is the string of consequences that follow. At first, they're paying $300 per month just to keep Amanda alive with Rivermind. Then a new tier, Rivermind Plus, is introduced. If you don't upgrade, the system starts inserting ads into Amanda's speech. And I don't mean subtle ones. She literally starts spouting advertisements mid-conversation without even realizing it. At this point, I had a million questions. How much of her brain is even her anymore? Can this implant pause her brain to play an ad and then resume like nothing happened? Because again, that's not how brains work. You can't just switch off and on parts of consciousness like toggling a light. But it gets worse. Amanda starts blurting out ads at school, telling students to sign up for Christian counseling, and she gets suspended. Mike is already working double shifts, exhausted and desperate, just to afford the tech. And now they're forced to upgrade again to $500 per month, so Amanda doesn't lose her job entirely. That's when Mike finds a site called Dumb Dummies. But it gets worse. Basically, people pay to watch you do humiliating, painful, or just disgusting things. He drinks his own pee, snaps a mousetrap on his tongue, and who knows what else, just to keep Amanda's subscription going. The episode doesn't show them having big fights or dramatic breakdowns. Instead, it's in the quiet moments, the exhaustion on Mike's face, the way Amanda has to power down to sync with her backup, that you feel their slow, painful unraveling. By the 3rd year, they clearly can't keep up anymore. So Mike buys her 30 minutes of a Rivermind Lux experience, a temporary upgrade that lets you boost emotional settings like serenity or joy. He maxes out her serenity, gives her one last beautiful moment in the sun, then he kills her, and we're left to assume he takes his own life shortly after. It's a gut punch of an ending. And yes, some people might say, I'd do anything to save the person I love, and that's true. But love isn't enough in a system where basic care is locked behind a paywall. This is what late-stage capitalism looks like, where even the value of a life can be tiered, upgraded, and eventually cut off. Gainer represents the worst kind of corporate face. The ones who show up when you're at your lowest, offering a miracle, only to smile and say, sorry, can't help you, when things inevitably fall apart. Now, the broader villain of this story is not a person, it's a system. Late-stage capitalism and a broken healthcare system set the stage for this tragedy. The ethical implications of turning healthcare into a subscription service are nightmarish. We normally think of healthcare as something that should be humane, maybe even a right, but here it's a product with tiered customer experiences. Rivermind essentially behaves like a streaming service or a free-to-play mobile game, constant upselling, nagging to upgrade, and penalizing you if you're on the free or basic version. It's a brilliant exaggeration of reality. Today we do see hints of this. Some medical devices come with paid features. Insurance plans often have tiers where richer folks can buy platinum plans with better coverage. Privatization can lead to perverse outcomes, like a company having a financial incentive to keep you just sick enough that you have to keep paying. In the episode, Rivermind has zero incentive to cure Amanda 100%. They make money only as long as she's dependent on them. That is a huge ethical conflict of interest. It made me think of real-life cases, like pharmaceutical companies who'd rather sell you a lifelong treatment than a one-time cure, because the treatment makes more money. Not long ago, a man named Luigi Mangione made headlines for an extreme and terrible act. In December 2024, he allegedly shot and killed the CEO of United Healthcare, one of America's largest health insurance companies. It's like reality served up its own Black Mirror plot. A man driven to madness by medical bills and denied claims, taking revenge on the face of that system. Social media was flooded with comments strangely supportive of him, or at least understanding of his rage. That real-life case underlines the same point common people makes. People feel trapped and betrayed by a profit-driven healthcare system. The concept of life as a service, like software as a service, gave me chills. If your ability to think or move or remember requires a monthly payment, what does that do to the human spirit? Mike and Amanda's ordeal shows it. It breaks it. Late-stage capitalism, unchecked, risks turning even our brains and bodies into marketplaces. By the end of the episode, I was not just sad for the characters. I was angry at the system that destroyed them. And that's exactly what the show intends. It wants us to question why our world is this way and whether we're okay with it. The episode's title, Common People, is no accident. It highlights class and inequality. Amanda and Mike are literally labeled common by the Rivermind system. They are not wealthy enough for a decent quality of life. Only the rich get the luxe life. This is a pointed commentary on real life, where the wealthy can afford boutique healthcare, cutting-edge treatments, or even experimental cures, while regular folks have to make do with what their insurance, if they have any, will cover. Late-stage capitalism is essentially when companies profit off basic needs in a way that's unsustainable and cruel. Exactly what we see in the episode. So, that was my take on Common People. Let me know what you thought about it. Did you guys like it too? Are there any other theories that you have about this? Comment down below. If you liked this analysis, subscribe to my channel because I will be going episode by episode during this week and next as we discuss Black Mirror Season 7. So see you guys next time. Ciao!